Good relationships are better than good contracts. Viva Frei, Montreal litigator turned YouTuber, and this is Winnie the Westie, and you might be asking yourself, why are we doing this vlog
from the middle of a cornfield?
Well, my wife took the office today and I am left at home with the kids without a car, and the quietest place I could possibly find in the house is in the middle of a cornfield. Now, we talked about this lawsuit during the last live stream with Robert Barnes, and I put out the highlight of that section the other day, but we are going to go through the actual filing in the Poole Subverse lawsuit against one of the minority shareholders and a at-will employee of that company. And I tell you, the allegations in this lawsuit would be Monty Python-esque level humor if it weren't so tragic, and it really highlights the principle of business that better than good contracts are good business relationships. It also highlights the fact that you don't need to be a big shareholder in a company to be a big pain in the butt for that company. It actually highlights the fact that you don't even need to be a shareholder in that company to be a pain in the butt in that company. These are the allegations of the lawsuit. None of them are proven fact, but my goodness, are they juicy. Plaintiff Subverse Inc. is a Connecticut corporation formed with the intent of bringing independent, unbiased reporting and news to the internet. It was formed by 3 individuals who have had varying degrees of success with such previous endeavors. The founding shareholders of Subverse Inc. are Timothy Poole, who holds an 85% interest, William Ottman, who holds a 10% interest, and the defendant Emily Molly, who owns a 5% interest. Now, when I said that the allegations in support of this lawsuit are juicy, it's more the exhibits filed in support of the allegations of this lawsuit, and we're going to get to them. The allegations of this lawsuit are pretty much par for the course, but it illustrates the fact that once money gets involved, especially large sums of money, that's when the poo-poo tends to hit the fan. In 2019, the shareholders undertook to raise money through WeFunder, a quote crowdfunding end quote website, and successfully raised over $1 million to fund its startup costs. Subverse Inc., through its corporate counsel, has filed the appropriate paperwork with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Because these lawsuits tend to draft themselves, when things go sour, you can sort of predict exactly how they went sour. Subverse raised apparently $1 million in less than 24 hours, and once people see a lot of money sitting in a bank account, they can start to have a lot of bad ideas, and the allegations of the lawsuit are that defendant Emily and defendant Rocco started making payments and spending money in an unauthorized manner, and the lawsuit also alleges that defendant Emily and defendant Rocco apparently accessed and published information belonging to a third party that was potentially inaccurate or defamatory. They were told to stop, they didn't stop, they got removed from the company. Or at the very least, Emily got removed from the company, and she also got fired because she was a paid employee as well, and Rocco, who was not a shareholder in the company, could not be removed from the company. He was just terminated, hence the at-will employment provisions allegations in this lawsuit. Pretty par for the course when it comes to these types of lawsuits, but wait until you hear what the defendants allegedly did after having been removed from the company and terminated. Quiet. Nobody's there. On or about January 6, 2021, the defendants were in Washington, D.C. creating a documentary about former President Donald Trump's rally. During the historic events at the United States Capitol, the defendants began to disseminate private and inappropriate information which belonged to a third party. Each was directly told to stop these activities by Subverse's largest shareholder and CEO, Tim Poole. This request was made both verbally and followed up with email communications. Those requests were ignored and disregarded by the defendants. Instead of addressing the concerns raised by Tim Poole, the defendants ignored good faith communication and began acting as if Subverse Inc. and its website, SCNR, were their own. The defendants also took all the plaintiff's professional video, computer, and editing equipment to their new home in California, and to date have refused to return the equipment. The defendants had access to plaintiff's bank accounts, ostensibly with the purposes of continuing to produce content for the plaintiff's SCNR website until early January 2021. Instead of producing additional or new content, in the middle of 2020, the defendants began to use the money that had been raised to launch Subverse as if it were their own. Defendant Molly began to use the money as if it were her own. She made unauthorized withdrawals and gave money or hired individuals, which directly contradicted the instructions she had been given by the plaintiff's senior management. The lawsuit does not specifically allege what the nature of this information pertaining to a third party was, why it was inappropriate, etc., etc. It just makes the broad allegation. Suffice only to say, from what we know, they were doing something they should not have been doing. They were told to stop. They didn't stop. They were terminated. And instead of just leaving the company as they should have, apparently they took a bunch of the assets to their home in California. Apparently they still had access access to the bank accounts and were still accessing the bank accounts up until January 8, 2021, when they were cut off from the bank accounts. But what the defendants do next
will blow your mind.
The substance of the allegation is not in the lawsuit itself, it's in the actual exhibits filed in support, which are the actual minutes of the meeting. But I've gotten ahead of myself. Let's just read the allegation in the lawsuit and then get into the exhibit. On or about March 1, 2021, the defendants Molly and Castoro attempted to remove Tim Poole as the plaintiff's chief executive officer, CEO, during which they attempted to make defendant Molly the new CEO. A copy of the minutes of that, quote, meeting, end quote, was sent via electronic mail to Tim Poole on or about March 1, 2021. Count 1, fraud as against all defendants. Count 2, unjust enrichment as against all defendants. Count 3, bad faith as against all defendants. Under the original formation documents, defendant Molly, as an officer and director of Subverse, has or had a fiduciary duty to use reasonable efforts to use the plaintiff's resources only for the company's benefit. She did not. Instead of using the money and corporate resources for plaintiff's benefit, the defendants have taken and used it as if it was their own. Then you have your conclusion seeking an injunction, a declaratory judgment, damages in the order of $1.2 million, which I suspect is the amount of money raised by Subverse through the crowdfunding, which the defendants are alleged to have misappropriated. But like I said in the beginning of this vlog, the most interesting allegations are actually not made in the lawsuit itself, but actually come from the exhibits filed in support of this lawsuit, and those exhibits are Tim Poole's affidavit and the minutes of the meeting that Molly and the other co-defendant Rocco allegedly held to try to remove Tim Poole as director and CEO of the company. On or about February 22, 2021, I sent a notice to defendant Molly that it was our intention to hold a board of directors meeting. At the time, the board of directors consisted of the 3 founders of Subverse, Bill Ottman, Emily Molly, and myself. Ms. Molly did not attend that meeting. I later found out in a document she forwarded to me that the reason for not attending the meeting was that she was, quote, protesting, end quote, it. So Tim Poole, who is the 85% majority shareholder in the company and also its CEO, calls a meeting of the board of directors to deal with the Molly and Rocco situation. Molly, who is a 5% shareholder and director of the corporation, does not show up to the meeting. Tim Poole subsequently finds out that the reason she did not show up to the board of directors meeting is that she was
protesting it.
And how does Tim Poole know why Molly did not attend this meeting? Well, Molly and Rocco subsequently attended their own board of directors meeting in which they attempted to remove Tim Poole from the company, and they actually had the great idea of documenting this meeting. In Exhibit D, defendant Molly, apparently with the assistance of defendant Rocco, attempted to remove me as a director and CEO of Subverse for the following reasons, a few of which I will address herein. A, quote, Poole held a meeting without a quorum, end quote. This fact is, on its face, is false. I held a meeting with Bill Ottman on or about February 22, 2021. Between us, we hold 95% interest in Subverse and were 2 of the 3 members of the board. There was a quorum at that meeting. Emily Molly was invited to attend the meeting on February 22, 2021, but chose to, quote, protested and did not attend the meeting, end quote. As such, her vote was marked as, quote, abstain. Defendant Rocco Castoro has never held an equity interest in Subverse and has never been a member of the board of directors. I am uncertain what the unexplained allegations that I used, quote, botnets, end quote, means. I did not use my personal brand to inflate anything. I passionately believed and continue to believe that the country needs independent journalists to cover events. This is Monty Python level humor. It would be funny, I guess, if it weren't such a headache for someone. Molly convenes her own meeting and, as if to solidify the evidence for and on behalf of Tim Poole, drafts up minutes and then sends them to Tim Poole. And what do those minutes say? Actions of the Board of Directors of Subverse Inc. taken at the special meeting held on March 1, 2021 at 4 p.m. Eastern. Agenda for special meeting. Quorum. Directors Rocco Castoro and Emily Molly were in attendance via electronic participation. Mr. Tim Poole was not in attendance, nor did he respond to an electronic invitation to the special meeting. Removal of Tim Poole as a director. Specific reasons for Tim Poole's removal are: 1. Poole held a meeting without a quorum. 2. Acted in name of Subverse Inc. without authority, causing corporation to engage in illegal ultra-virus actions. 3. Said actions included removal of director Emily Molly. 4. Poole falsified records when he stated that Molly abstained from vote. Molly protested and did not attend the meeting. Now therefore, be it resolved, the board moves to remove Poole's right to enter into contracts on behalf of the corporation. Directors voting to approve the foregoing resolutions: Rocco Castoro, Emily Molly. They have documented their own admissions in law where Emily basically admits to having known of the meeting. She didn't abstain from attending the meeting. She protested that meeting, and Tim Poole falsified the reasons for which she did not attend that meeting. She has basically facilitated Tim Poole's evidence for the purposes of this lawsuit, but this was not a very well thought out plan to begin with, allegedly. And this highlights the fact that more important than good contracts are good business relationships, knowing the people you are doing business with. It also highlights the fact that however minor, however small a shareholder is, they can become a very serious, very big pain in the corporation's butt. And the reality is that they don't even need to be a shareholder in the corporation to become a pain in the butt for the corporation, as the defendant Rocco is illustrating in this lawsuit. But alas, these are all just mere allegations at this stage of law. They have yet to be proven, and maybe there is a good explanation for why the defendants did what they are alleged to have done, and we will be following it because I will be doing a follow-up as soon as there is what to follow up on
in this lawsuit.
And with that said, if you like my videos, you like my content, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and drop a comment in the comment section below because it feeds the algorithm.
Tina, you fat lard, come get some dinner.
If you want to support the channel, all of the support links, including merch links, are in the pinned comment. Robert Barnes and I do weekly live streams every Sunday. We do weekly streams with a guest every Wednesday called The Sidebar. We are also on Locals. If you want to find us and support us there, you can find us at
vivabarneslaw.locals.com.
All of my content is also on Rumble if you want to find it there, but more important than anything, take care of yourselves, check in on friends and family, make sure everyone around you is doing well, and now you know your vlog. Peace out.